Hi, everybody. Welcome to Honesty Hour. This is episode, I want to say 12. And the reason I'm not sure is because we recorded episodes prior to the moment that I'm speaking in. I just haven't uploaded it yet because of a lack of self discipline and time constraints and stuff because life happens. Anyway, today we have two very exciting guests on. We have Faaria and we have Haytham. Welcome, Faaria and Haytham.
Thank
Hello.
you.
Faaria and Haytham are friends of mine. I want to say close friends of mine. Who I met through. I mean, we'll speak more about it, but I met through like a bursary program because we're smart people. Or at least we try to be.
Facts.
And then just got closer and closer with them, even though it didn't seem like when I first met you guys. I'll be honest. If you had told me in 3 years' time you would be sitting on my couch, like, oh, not my couch, but my parents' couch, let me humble myself, just having a conversation, I don't think I would have believed you because it was very formal vibes the first time that we met.
Agree.
At the restaurant, and I also went into it like I having a lot of social anxiety. Faaria was sitting down. I came late, which is like typical. And then
On
I
brand.
tried. Do you remember what happened?
Yep. You tried to pull the chair out and you were fighting for your life, trying to get it out.
Yo, bro, it was embarrassing. I was like, I'm, showing my weakness to these people, and I thought like, I'm here for the academic competition, but they're like, this guy can't even pull out a chair. Like, I have nothing to worry about. So I don't think I would have foreseen like the level of friendship and the level of closeness, and I just didn't know that you guys were as quiet as you are, in my opinion. I'm not going to speak for everyone, but so yeah, I want to ask about maybe your first impressions, specifically you, Faaria, your first impressions of myself, your first impressions of Haytham, going into like Melon, what you
Okay.
were expecting and stuff.
I don't know. I don't think I approached it with certain preconceived ideas, but everyone just seemed chilled. And I
Yeah.
think in that moment, like, you guys firstly both missed the first thing because Samuel didn't check his email. I don't know what happened to Haytham.
What? Really? Did we?
Yes. The first thing
Didn't even know about it.
new. That's news to me.
yeah, so when you guys came,
Yeah.
it was cool to see the other two people on the email list. Haytham just seemed interesting, like, could not figure him out.
Yes.
You just seemed sweet.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was like chilled vibes,
Mm.
But I wouldn't say I was expecting
Yeah.
the level of connection we've had, but also considering the things we've experienced together, it kind of makes sense.
This is true, and we're gonna get into some of those things. But I feel like you have a very open mind. So
Yeah, I
that
guess.
you kind of you approach situations, I feel like, with an openness to experience instead of just like this is what I'm trying to get out of this situation.
Yeah, I just thought it was cool. You
Mhm.
guys seemed chilled. It was quite an awkward
Oh yeah.
like the whole thing was a bit awkward because firstly we were at a restaurant and we were fasting. It was Ramadan, so like everything about that was a bit strange,
It's a bit problematic, eh?
But we
That's
we
at
also
this point
both
like,
very low maintenance, me and Haytham, so we
Yeah.
didn't
Yeah,
think
it doesn't
anything of
matter.
it. It was just like we
Yeah.
couldn't order, which was a bit sad. But yeah,
Did we order?
Yeah.
yeah.
You're that. I'm a bad human being, bro.
But that,
No, I don't blame
no,
you.
it's like
And we also didn't
Yeah,
mention anything
yeah.
because me and Haytham
we
wouldn't
wouldn't
say
want
it.
to inconvenience other people. Like,
Yeah.
And I didn't even
Yeah.
know you were Muslim. Like in the, I mean, not the. How do I
I
explain
should
this?
have worn my kufiya and my salah top.
Basically, no. I didn't want to make assumptions about anybody that I saw, so I just knew I knew Haytham was in my class. We had seen each other before,
Same.
but I wouldn't say that you present like a I guess a stereotypical
like a imam's son.
yeah, exactly. And
that's
like
fair.
same with you, Faaria. So
Yeah.
I guess I can be pardoned in that regard. But I think knowing now
all
what I
good.
know, I would have probably fasted in solidarity with you.
Ah,
Shout
come
out,
on.
You
dude.
know?
Listen, when it comes to the, getting free
Yeah,
food
man.
out of that particular,
Yeah. Like
credit card or
organization.
whatever, that organization.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if, you're allowed to name drop or
Mm.
what's the deal.
No, I've said
but
Millen before.
you know what? If there's some free diet on offer,
Yeah.
I'd say take it with both
No,
hands.
I agree.
Yeah, no, same,
Fully,
man.
fully.
And like have on
Regardless
behalf of us,
regardless of whether we're fasting, like
order twice so you
it's
can eat
something
twice.
we've come to learn very well. The main kind of like objective of belonging to that organization is to eat.
Yep.
But yeah, we didn't really know that then.
Yeah.
Yeah, nah, we're still shy.
Do you think, Loki, the administrators organize these events so that they can eat? Because if you think about it, right, that gives them license to use the budget. And I mean, I love Kathy and Gideon, but we always have a good time when we're together because, that Millen credit card comes out. And,
But 100%,
Yeah.
I'm sure like they would.
Oh yeah.
Or it's just like, okay, tonight I don't need to cook because we do have melon food, you know?
which is how I feel about the next 3 days.
And if you think about it, like we only see half of it because like these are the things that they organize for us or the students, and then they probably have their own like meetings
And,
for
like,
planning things.
Yeah.
So then they like, well, we don't have to pay for the kids. Let's go and like eat oysters and lobster
Yeah.
instead.
No, they're
I'm just
super
kidding.
well
I'm sure
fed.
they don't do that, but
Can I? Sorry, you mentioned oysters and lobsters. No, now I'm a Seventh-day Adventist, so we're Christians, but we're kind of like a special denomination of Christian. We meet on Saturdays, which is like the Holy Sabbath according to the Bible. But then there's certain foods that we're prohibited from eating as well. Now pork, we share that across the board.
That's the big one.
Pork's not the one, but lobster and certain seafood like octopus and stuff like calamari, we're not supposed to eat as well.
Yeah.
Of all of the things we're prohibited from eating, I don't have a problem with any of them. I've lived most of my life without those foods in my diet. But lobster looks so lekker, no?
Yeah.
That's the one that always makes me it just shakes my faith a little
No,
bit,
that's so fair.
when I see like these food influencers put
Oh, man.
butter on the lobster.
Yeah,
I'm like,
and lobster's delicious. I'm
Have you
not
had
gonna
it?
lie.
Is
Yeah, it's so good.
I've never had lobster, but
Lobster's
I'd
so
really love
yummy.
to try it. But yeah, just haven't had it.
but
But
are
also-
there restrictions on seafood in Islam?
Yeah, some are macru, isn't
Yeah,
like
so some
not
like
halal.
Macru sounds like a Scottish brew that we don't like,
But it's like midway.
I
Like,
think it's like kind of frowned upon
I think lobster's one of them.
Oh,
because
okay.
it kind of is like a bug of the sea.
Like bottom feeder.
Yeah.
So
and
like
prawns.
like
isn't
I
it?
think let's keep it consistent. Like if you'd eat a crayfish or a lobster, like you should be prepared to get down to some like roaches and locusts and blah blah blah.
I
That's
completely
kind of the
disagree.
same.
Yeah, I don't think
Like,
it.
Surely,
I don't
man,
think it
they
works that.
they kind of look the same, anyways.
Roaches.
Or
And
like
lobster.
like a grasshopper or something. Like they both have like
I feel like a
they have an
grasshopper,
exoskeleton and
Oh.
like 6 legs. And,
but it could be kind of like delicious, you know?
Grasshopper.
Just like the crunch
I mean,
aspect
like
Mm.
come to think of it,
with some salt.
like
No?
I've heard back in the day, my grandfather, he was from Kimberley, and there was a locust like plague.
Yeah.
So then they caught the locusts, and then they like roasted them and ate them. Like everyone in the like town or whatever. It was like, yeah.
That's
It's chow, the
But
locust.
also back then it was like, well, I guess this is free food.
and it is Kimberley, like you're already living in
if
somewhat
if
of
a free
struggle.
meal comes flying at you and it's like somewhat edible, I guess. Back in the
I feel like Cyril's economy is heading us back to that,
Yeah.
man.
we need some more swarms of locusts.
Like someone
coming
was
our way.
fixing our pool the other day, and we have those Guinea fowls.
Yeah.
We're short of few now.
If times get tough, you could just do some backyard hunting.
Nah, he caught a few for his supper.
Yeah, I mean, respect. I've never had guinea fowl, but I imagine it's pretty much like chicken, man. Just like
And they're
if you
quite annoying, to be honest.
do they make sounds?
They just like bang on the window. They bang on my brother's car. Like there's scratches everywhere from them.
Maybe they just don't like you guys.
I've-
Like that sounds like a
Maybe.
targeted
I've
attack.
seen a recipe for guinea fowl, to be honest. It's like you get the guinea fowl and then you put it in a pot, cook it for like 8 hours, then after 8 hours, just throw the pot away with everything in it. Because what's inside there tastes like doo-doo.
Hey man,
It's just a joke, but yeah.
but in Sorrel's economy,
You're
Like-
just gonna have to.
We'll have to make do with what is there.
yeah,
you
if
know?
it's a locust, if it's a guinea fowl, you know.
Yeah. I mean, I
Yeah.
feel like as long as you have people to try, I feel like if you eat, I can't imagine something more depressing than eating guinea fowl alone.
Facts.
Like it has to be a family meal. It has to be like a group experience.
Because alone
man.
it's giving desperation.
Exactly.
Like you're so desperate to.
The food you eat alone, that's survival food, man.
Facts.
You know, but when you eat
Yeah.
it with people, then it turns into like an experience.
But if I were to host you guys and I were to pull out a guinea fowl,
I'd be down. I'd be actually quite excited.
Apparently, in some parts of the world, pigeon is quite the delicacy.
Oh.
But I don't know if those are the pigeons that we get, or they're like bred specifically.
I don't know, because Grassy Park pigeons wouldn't be captured easily. Like those pigeons,
no,
they
no,
walk
no.
with an attitude. Bro. They're like, it's
The
like,
pigeons are scollies of the sky. It's
I
either
agree.
seagulls or pigeons, but I think pigeons, it's more fitting. They just give off a more scolly vibe.
Are they
but
not
also I feel like
cousins?
pigeons are classist.
And then-
Can you
Really?
elaborate on that?
Because you see pigeons, guys, if you go to a very bourgeois area, you're not
No.
going to see pigeons the way you are
You see
in
pigeons.
another area. No, but they're
Yeah.
classist.
Yeah, no,
sure.
yeah. I can see that.
Yeah.
Because it also feels like they just steal food from the working class.
You'll
Like-
never see them target the rich.
Yeah.
No,
Maybe
but
that's
no,
why
it's
people
like-
think they're like the government's agent.
You know, pigeons will always swoop down and like steal some slap chips or maybe a bit of bread, but
Yeah.
you know,
The
you don't
people's diet.
you don't see like pigeons attacking people or eating sushi, for example. So
And you'd think that would be in their demographic, right? Because aren't pigeons cousins of seagulls, and seagulls eat fish, right?
exactly,
So why are they not eating these kinds
they
of
know what
fancy
they're doing.
fish?
They're more clever than we give them credit for.
Nah.
Yeah.
Look, I'll be honest. I didn't expect to be like 10 minutes into the podcast and be speaking about pigeons, but it's a lovely segue into the bursary program kind of brought us together, and under that shared theme of like there was always good food. So I want to ask you about maybe some of your favorite melon moments, and then some of your least favorite like awkward melon moments. And it can be like from Chicago. It could be from like our events in South Africa. But I feel like there's a lot of unique experiences that we share that I want to kind of like get your
Yeah.
perspective on. You know? So if you can think of any of your favorite moments or like least favorite moments.
Okay, I think favorite moments, one comes to mind. It was when we just met and we were in Kalk Bay
Mm.
and we were chilling on the balcony and then someone saw a ship and thought it was the moon.
Oh,
And I think we debated it for a solid half an hour.
Can
on
we
whether-
preface that by saying, okay, I don't know how
Yeah,
much I can
yeah,
say.
maybe.
Yeah, let's keep identities perhaps disclosed. But
I just want to say there was a group from Joburg. Now, I don't want to, put all Joburgers into the same category, but maybe these Donnies weren't used to the sea, man.
true.
So maybe what they were seeing on the reflection, it was kind of like the sea is this novel thing that carries the moon on it instead of ships.
Okay, I think it's important to note that I'm not from Cape Town. I'm from Pretoria.
Yes,
And I don't appreciate the Joburg slander
I understand. I thought you would
because you're
call me out.
homogenizing a whole group.
But also, the moon isn't like a speck of light. You know, the moon's pretty big.
Yeah, whether
So-
you're in Joburg or Cape
yeah,
Town.
the moon's
Yeah,
the moon's
okay.
large.
Sorry.
This was like a little flicker.
Yeah, but I didn't expect you to stand up for the Joburgers though, because you're from Pretoria, right?
Yeah, but like I think Cape Townians just slander Joburg so much, so I need to get back onto my Cape Town slander a bit more.
Okay, fair. I think that balances out. I think the way I see, because there's not just Cape Townians slandering Joburgers, which happens a lot, and I'm guilty of it a lot. I think it's also people from different parts of Cape Town slandering other people from. So we're from the southern suburbs, right? And northern suburbs Cape Townians aren't normal, man. Like, there's just a difference in the way they kind of think about life, in my perspective, my deeply fluid subjective experience, it's like everything there seems to be more about like financial stability. Whereas I feel like here in this, like in the southern suburbs, everyone's kind of like, making their way. But then you kind of you value experiences over like, I'm gonna move to this place that has no neighbors. It's just like a placie, but I'm gonna make money there. Which that I couldn't imagine that for myself.
Okay, so I'm not trying to hop onto the Joburg slander,
Go.
but so it's kind of more like Joburg.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I get
It does.
Yeah.
It does feel like Gauteng a bit, being in the northern suburbs,
Yeah.
Durbanville, Bellville, that side.
Everywhere's far from each other.
Yeah.
There's a lot of open space.
It's like very.
The roads are wider.
And like hustle focused.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and
It's
Joburg
less-
does have a hustle culture.
Yeah.
So,
It's like more car centric, like
Yeah.
yeah.
it does feel like Joburg.
I saw a bus stop outside. There's this high school. I was in Durbanville on Thursday. And we'll speak more about why I was there. But I was in Durbanville, and that's in the northern suburbs. And there was this bus stop outside. I can't get to this high school's name, but it looked like the most fancy high school I've seen in a while.
In Durban.
In Durbanville.
Was it like Redham or something?
No, it's Redham's like
That's like
the side, but like
Yeah.
it gave those vibes. It looked
Okay.
exactly like Redham. And then there was a bus stop like just outside, and I was thinking, how many of these students are using the bus? But then it could be that because I went to St. George's Grammar School once to piano lessons,
Yeah.
or a piano exam. We used to write UNISA exams at St. George's Grammar, and this one white guy came up to me. And a bunch of us were from Hyde Park Primary School. That's where we were doing our lessons, and it's in Parkwood. Which, if you know, like Parkwood is like considered a rougher like area in Cape Town. And then this white guy comes up to us, and he's fully uniformed. He's got like banners on his blazer because he's like the
Yeah.
main guy there or whatever. And then he asked, "Hi there, are you guys the scholarship kids?"
That's crazy.
I was like, yo, bruh, like, that's wild. And the reality is my parents probably couldn't afford the school fees there, but shame, man, give me more, don't
That's
pigeonhole me
crazy.
Yeah,
like that.
that's
So I was thinking maybe it's scholarship kids that are using the bus.
But I don't know if those schools necessarily would cater that much towards scholarship kids, But maybe.
Yeah, I think it's more legacy.
I think maybe it's for the ground staff and the cleaners.
Could be.
Not to be,
Not to say like,
stereotypical
Yeah.
stuff, but like
yeah.
if it's a super Lani school, I guess it's like I don't know.
That's interesting. I don't know. I think like when I was driving through there, it was giving me Joburg vibes just because like there was a 5-lane road for no reason. Like not even a lot of traffic.
Our roads make sense. Please. Why do you guys have like pathways as roads? Like it's a bit crazy. It's a pathway and then there's little cars parked on it on both sides and I need to squeeze through that.
We're
That's
just
facts.
opportunistic, man. We see a pathway and other people think that's for walking, and then we go, I reckon my car could fit through there.
No, I'm tired. I'm tired of squeezing.
Yeah. It is like even the road where you used to stay.
Yo, it was a fight for my life every
like,
day.
just pulling out of
Because,
that
like-
road, you have
And
to
there was
walk.
construction.
Yeah.
The amount of times I threatened to bump like a truck or a pile of cement because I was just so frustrated.
I'm sorry. On behalf of
happens.
this, I'm apologizing on behalf of the city.
No,
of Cape Town.
you
That's
should
not
Yeah,
me.
no, come
That's
on, man.
that's
just-
a
I
white
just-
man's job right
Yeah,
there.
I
Like-
just live here, bruh. Like,
Oh, like 150 years ago, some people used to come here with their horse and carriages. So it worked back then. Surely it'll work now.
yeah,
You know?
that's the
Um,
mindset. Because like even main road, no. It's like
Main road is a
why
crazy
is it one,
concept.
one lane,
Main
but it's the
road's,
main
like,
road. It
pretty-
doesn't make sense.
And it just connects it doesn't stop. When does it stop?
Well, main road's one of those roads that you kind of find an exit everywhere, and Millen is kind of like a road like that. That's a very bad segue. I was just trying to get it back to Millen, man. Like it's the same road that we've all traveled on, and now
Oh,
some of us
yeah.
have made our exit.
Mhm.
But I just want to go back to maybe some of the key moments on that road. I also think that our friendship group, this is 5 of us, right?
Mm.
I have to always stop myself from just wanting to reminisce a lot. Because
Yeah, that's true.
Because I think I tend to like try and relive the past instead of just
Yeah.
making new memories in the present, and it could probably hold me back. Having said that, let's speak about the past. 'Cause,
Okay, so I discussed my favorite moment.
yeah, Haytham didn't say.
Yeah.
Did you even like being part of Melon, Haytham?
Huh? Of course I did.
Oh.
I had a fantastic time. What makes you ask whether I even enjoyed it?
There was the four of us were almost at every single Melon event. Haytham basically went to the events if Kathy said like, Haytham, you have to be at this event.
Especially
Yeah.
writing circles. Haytham just didn't
Yeah.
come for like a solid 2 terms.
Yes, that is true. But let me dig myself out of this hole here.
Mm.
I can't really. Actually, yeah, I don't really have much of an excuse.
That's a great
I did have a
excuse.
seminar that kind of cut into it, but
Yeah.
it was like it's on me really, and
Mm.
I felt like I just worked better in the postgrad room. I think this is something to cut out because I'm kind of rambling. I'm rambling and it doesn't make a lot of sense. It's not particularly entertaining on my part.
No
So,
worries. Well,
in short,
yeah.
I
Don't worry about it, bro.
no, I really did enjoy being a part of the Melon group. I do admit that, maybe I wasn't as present at some of the events
Oh.
than I maybe should have been. If I were to do it again, I probably would have, wouldn't have gone to those things anyways. But at the end of the
Doubling
day,
down.
I think that it's out of the formal, constraints of sitting in this or that session
Mm.
that, the best Melon memories were made.
100%.
So, yeah.
Sometimes it was in those sessions where we decided to be informal, like the Melon group chat. Do you remember when we first got to Chicago and they made us sit down for this meeting where we meet everybody else that's in the program and they're going through like
Oh,
ground
that was
rules.
so funny.
We're like severely jet lagged because I didn't get that much sleep on the plane and it was our first full day there and it's like the evening as well. So
And it was a crazy day. We got rained on,
Yeah, wow.
significantly rained
that
on.
like soaking
was-
wet.
that
There
was
was a
mad.
lot happening.
Yeah, and there was no option to like not be there because it was the opening like kind of ceremony.
Yeah.
And it was so boring. It was like these people just kept speaking and speaking,
Yeah,
and it's not just any type of people speaking. It's like think about American university students that have been the top of their class every single year, so they have this like
Allegedly.
well, yeah. I don't want to, and as much as I love those people, though, they are people that I grew to love. So if you're listening and you're an American Melon, I'm not targeting you specifically. It's kind of just the idea of you. So
The metaphysical.
yeah. So
being.
like the always wanting to answer questions,
Yeah.
always like trying to stand out, because
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
like
yeah.
from this legacy of
It's-
academic excellence, and I stand out in a crowd.
It's like trying to assert that, like, yes, I am like this academic weapon,
Yeah.
and you
Yeah.
all need to know that I am actually a smart and studious individual. But it kind of goes without saying that you are if you're there anyway. So it's like you don't have to prove yourself to anyone at this point. But a lot of
100%.
people, maybe I can't hate on this too much. Maybe a lot of people felt that, they did in fact have to prove themselves to others. So
But we just wanted to sleep.
yeah, they'd like spent a lot less time in transit than we did.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they were used to, like, I guess, the times as well.
And
Yeah.
a lot of the questions also could have just been emails to, the people in charge or, sorry.
Haytham just put his hand over his mouth. Almost like he committed a grave offense.
So yeah, returning to my favorite Melon moment, though, I think it's on the first day that we arrived in Chicago, and we went to sit on the banks of Lake Chicago. Wait, no, it's not Lake Chicago. It's
Michigan.
Lake Michigan. Yes.
Get
That's
out
right.
of here, man.
Damn, now I feel like an idiot. But it might as well have been Lake Chicago, you know, like, come on,
Facts.
we nowhere near Michigan. I mean, we probably were. I might have to, you know what, American geography, like, who cares, man? Like,
Well, apparently we do because we did a 50 states.
Yeah,
like,
you
quiz
guys
against
definitely care.
But that's just like
I mean, it's
general-
like, it's just through, like, osmosis, you know. I didn't, like, pick up a map of America and, like, study it out of, like,
yeah,
you know,
this is important
immense.
info.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We just kind of know it, unfortunately or fortunately.
Yeah,
So yeah, sitting on the, and is that the right word, anyways, to describe the, like,
I think
the
so.
side, like the banks?
it's
Because
like
I know there's like a
rocky outcrop.
rocky outcrop indeed at
Mm.
Promontory Point,
Yeah.
was it?
Yeah.
So sitting at Promontory Point with the sun setting and the skyline of Chicago out in the distance. That was a beautiful moment. It felt like, you know, it was, everything was real, and like I'd worked hard throughout undergrad, and this was some kind of affirmation that
Mm.
I
Yeah.
had
Mm-hmm.
that was one of the best moments in my
Yeah.
opinion.
I think I journaled while we were sitting
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
And I don't remember what I wrote. I journal and then I never read it back.
Because it's kind of embarrassing to read it back, I think.
I think it's, yeah. I agree actually.
Because it's like, what was I going through, you know?
yeah.
Like, it was
I'm-
never that serious.
Do you also cringe when you
Yeah.
read like stuff you've written when you were younger?
Yeah.
And then I'm like, if I could go back. I mean, it's not a healthy thought. at
Like
all.
how much younger are we talking here?
Like a few weeks ago. I'm like, a few weeks ago, I was a bit of a whack individual, you know? I don't know. I think I tend to be also like self-flagellant. Is that the word?
Yeah, like
When you-
self-flagellating and
Yeah.
so on. Yeah.
Like when you kind of punish yourself.
Yeah.
So I've spoken about this on a podcast episode with my sister, but when I think back on like cringe moments I've had in the past, I kind of make sounds.
Same.
Do
Because
you?
I just like don't know how to react.
What, like
Can
you suck air through your teeth like
Nah,
a...
it's weirder
It just
than that.
depends though.
I'll randomly be sitting with my own thoughts, and then I'll just be like, "Yeah, no, man." Like, you know, I'll just
Yeah.
like you know, I have this like just feeling of overwhelming disappointment in myself.
Or sometimes I'll just say the word that's in my head, but like I'll just say it loud. But luckily it's usually when I'm alone. Because that
Yeah,
would be
I was
quite
about to ask.
embarrassing.
Yeah. People would think you're like, you know,
Yeah.
yeah.
But what was your favorite moment?
So besides all of the food experiences, because I feel like I ate a lot of fancy things at Melon that I didn't have to pay for, which was really nice. But
Fantastic.
then, yeah, it's always those kinds of like joking together about things that we shouldn't be joking about, or just like the five of us taking a walk and talking about life,
Yeah.
like going to Kimbok. That's always gonna be like a
Yeah.
lifetime memory.
Wow.
And there was nothing special about it.
Yeah.
We didn't go there to like, you know, achieve some sort of academic milestone or to represent South Africa in another country. We just went there and just like spoke about life and just joked about things.
Yeah.
And, you know,
Maybe got some Harold's fried chicken.
yeah, getting some ice creams late at night.
Yeah.
What, CVS?
Yeah,
Yeah.
drinking Arizonas, you know, finding a guy who pretended to be in a wheelchair and then
Stood up.
helping him get his order, and then he stands up and walks around the store. I was like,
America's a strange place.
it is a strange place. Can I tell you about the story that happened while I was most recently in
Yeah.
America? Because this is also the first episode we're recording since I got back. So Esme and I were going from California to San Francisco. We had spent the weekend at a friend's place. And then we got on this long distance train and we settle ourselves in because we've got like heavy bags and stuff. We settle ourselves in and we're just getting ready to relax and we're happy because, you know, we're going back and it was a lovely weekend. We're reflecting on the weekend. And then there's this guy, a residentially challenged individual on the in the carriage next to us. That's a PC way of saying like homeless. And he was like in the carriage next to us, and he's like rocking back and forth, and he keeps rocking back and forth. And I'm like, okay, that's a little bit strange, but it's fine. Like, it's a free world. You can rock back and forth. You're not intruding on my experience. And then he starts like mumbling, and then his mumbles get clearer and clearer. And what the guy ends up saying is like, I'll never forgive you for what you did that night. I'll never forgive you for what you did that night. And it just gets louder and louder. And he's like, I'll never forgive you for what you did that night. And then I was like, yeah, we need to like find a different place to sit. Not just because it's loud, but just because what is that bruh talking about? Like what happened that night? And like what kind of PTSD did the guy have? And then he came over to us. And then so here's the thing. I try to be, if I'm with my girlfriend, I want to be like, the guy in the relationship, or like the number one level of security. Because, we have these ideas about like the kind of man you have to be or whatever. And then this guy comes up to us, and I've always like pictured in my head, if somebody ever comes too close to us in those moments, like I'll be there ready to like, set boundaries and to enforce my way. And the guy comes up to us, and my reaction is I just like go, like I just flinched, bro. And the bro came like right to us, and then he just said, I just wanted to say Happy New Year and Merry Christmas. And it was really sweet, actually.
Oh, that's nice.
But I was so embarrassed at my reaction, because I thought I'm like this macho guy that's gonna like, stand up to danger. And I just ended up flinching. And my girlfriend is like not fazed at all. She's like, completely calm next to me. So I was like,
and then did he go back to I'll never forget you? He went back to that. And then we pretended to get off at the next stop. But we were like 13 stops away. So we just went like to a different part of the train.
But I think the trains are always just a crazy place. Remember when we were on the train and someone was smoking, and they ended up stopping the entire train and just having an argument over the intercom? That was crazy.
That's not even the wildest train story we had, because besides the guy smoking, do you remember the guy wanted to jump?
Oh yeah, that happened too.
Yeah, because the train lines are electrical, and this bruh just wanted to, I don't know, when he walked in, you could kind of see something wasn't right.
And there was a shooting on the train, like
after
there was
the
a lot
baseball
happening.
game,
yeah, there was. We went through
so
a
much
lot
happening.
actually.
The Chicago Red Line is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I think just like you say, trains in general, because even in Brooklyn, like the train, there's a lot of people who like clearly are struggling with something mentally, but Americans don't speak to them. Like, I feel like in South Africa, there's a healthy level of social shaming. So if someone's doing something weird, South Africans will stare at you, bro. If you're doing something weird, like, you'll know you're doing something weird, and then you'll kind of stop. But there, it's like, they're so scared to take responsibility or to have the person interact with them that they just kind of like all look to the floor. And so they don't address anybody who's like, you can be spouting off any kind of nonsense or like shouting like as at the top of your lungs, and people will just walk by you and pretend like you're not there. But it's dehumanizing, man.
Yeah, do you think that's because they're like scared, or do you think it's just because of their individualized understanding of life?
I think it's the latter. It's probably a bit of both, but it's more the latter, I think. It's like, if I interact with this person, then what if they become my responsibility?
Yeah.
Instead of thinking like, how can I help, or just like maybe try and calm the person down.
Yeah.
So I would like sometimes like engage with these people, sometimes just through giving them eye contact.
Yeah.
And my girlfriend would get annoyed with me because she'd be like, oh, like, don't look, because otherwise he's gonna start. And then they would start talking to me, but it's fine, because like, they're still a person at the end of the day.
Yeah,
and they do need help, man. Like, I don't want to pathologize, but clearly I think if you're muttering over and over, I'll never forgive you for what you did that night,
I really want to know what they did that night.
I was also very intrigued.
They ate the last slice of pizza. Okay, no, that's terrible. That's rude of me. And I'm sure it was something a lot worse than that. But yeah.
I mean, that could be pretty bad. So if you're hungry enough, bro, that's like...
Yeah, that could set you off.
Yeah. I've seen family disputes for a lot less than that.
Yeah.
Like 30 seconds games where you shout time too loud and then the people like, people want to fight, bro. It's
Nah,
like,
but 30 seconds is deep, guys. If you don't take that thing seriously,
yeah.
you have to. You've played it with. You've seen me play 30 seconds, right? Haytham?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
body intense.
I thought you were gonna say something else about something whack that I've done before. I'd never do it to you guys, though. I'm just saying. But
I don't know what you're saying.
Do you want to confess
with regards
something?
to yeah, it is a confession of sorts, and
Okay.
I have mentioned it in front of you guys before, and everyone was like, "Nah, that's whack," and I do think it's whack, but it always makes for good conversation or.
Haytham, you're teasing me.
So, anyways, occasionally, when I was a bit younger, I'm not gonna say when I was a kid, but a bit younger, and I'd play 30 seconds, with friends or whatever. Time to time, I'd say time, and
Before
yeah,
time.
before it's time, and then
Nah, that's
then-
not cool.
I
man.
respect that. You gotta do what you gotta do.
That's,
and I think that's pretty whack. But
yes, I agree.
I just thought it would be funny to share, and like I'm just saying, I wouldn't do it again. If we have to play like 30 seconds.
But I will be mindful of that.
Yes,
now.
yeah,
if a game of 30
Always.
seconds ever
Maybe
pops
it's better.
off.
Just hold me accountable if I can't hold myself. But yeah.
So, in the interest of, because since we're doing a whole confessional vibe now,
Yeah.
I wanted to ask Faaria specifically
Okay.
because of your positionality.
Okay.
Do you think I'm sexist? And the reason why I ask, is because I mean, the whole like in a patriarchal society,
Yeah.
everybody's guilty a little bit. But do you think it's particularly like I'm a particular manifestation of it? And this is why I ask. There was a interesting moment that happened at another Melon event where Faaria said something dick funny. Now that's not the like interesting part about
Wait,
it
what
because
did
you
I
say
say?
funny things all the time. Like your top 5 funny people, like funniest people I know.
Thanks.
Faaria was talking. We were talking about some numbers, right? Because we're like humanities students.
Oh yeah.
And then Faaria said like, "Oh, like forget about numbers.
Or
like
reject numbers
yeah,
as decolonial practice.
exactly. You're like numbers are anti-revolutionary." And then that was so funny. I was breaking me, and then I retold the story to someone, and our friend Sindisa, I attributed that quote to him. And
Oh,
then
yeah, I
Faaria was
remember.
like, "No, I said that." And then I was like, "Yo, I probably look like such a like, oh, women can't be funny." Like this must have been it was a funny statement, so it must have been a guy that said it. But then I was thinking, like, in my life, like I think I try to be as like progressive as possible and like to reflect on my own biases, which
Yeah.
I'm full of course. But then I was thinking maybe I'm not trying hard enough on like the sexism front, like just cause
Yeah.
like, and then I was thinking about my Spotify playlists, right? And I would say like 70% of the people I listen to, and it could be 80%, are male artists, like who identify
Yeah.
as men. And then I was like, I might have a problem here, I mean, not that it has to be 50-50, but I think overall in the music industry, at least, like I think women artists tend to be like this. They have like really big followings. Like I can't think of a male artist that has a following like the Taylor Swifts or like the Beyonces. And I know that like these are very problematic artists, But then I was thinking like, I don't know. So it's a bit I do think the greatest singer of all time is Ella Fitzgerald. And she's like she's a Black American singer from like the 50s and 60s.
Yeah.
She's so good, so good. But then that's like when white people say, "Oh, I'm not racist." One of my favorite people in the world is Martin Luther King Jr. it's giving one of those kind of arguments, And then another thing was now the other day we had a braai. This is the 5 of us,
Yeah.
and then Faaria, you were like controlling the braai.
Yeah.
And then I felt bad because I wasn't doing anything. I was literally just sitting there, and you said like 3 times like, "I think we should put the meat on the braai." And then when I walked over with, I did like a thing with the tongs, and then it just, I don't know, I felt in that moment like, very aware of like the whole positionality, like the idea that, oh, men should be at the braai and stuff like that. But maybe I'm just in my own
No.
head about things.
I think in that moment, I wish you guys felt more like that, so you could have actually bribed, because I was the one doing it. And maybe then your meat would not have ended up the way it did.
Hey, I think we can take responsibility for that one. Like, you didn't really have anything to do with us burning the meat.
Okay, shout out.
Like, yeah,
Um,
that's on me and Sam. Like,
I don't just want to be roped into this. Yeah, no, you're right, because I wasn't even there.
yeah, you guys
to
were just
watch
like
yeah.
having okay, and we're all having really good
actually,
conversations.
so part of it's on you as well.
Yeah, it was all of us.
We're
I don't
back to
think-
inclusivity.
I don't think you're sexist because you like
Male
more
artists.
men's
Yeah.
music, or because you attributed the joke to a man. But I think it's a good, and also the fact that you're reflecting on this probably means that you
Yeah.
will have some biases, obviously,
Yeah.
and will perpetuate some sort of, I don't know, sexism. But I don't
Yeah.
think you're.
Okay.
I haven't experienced you as a sexist, I'd say.
And let's keep it that way, I mean, not that there is a side to me that you're gonna, you know what I mean? Like,
No, but I get you. Yeah.
Yes, because I was scared that maybe that's the vibes I give off.
No, not at
Mm,
all.
yeah.
I think
Okay.
you're like the furthest. Both of you guys are quite far from
Okay.
most men that are like very,
Yeah.
not so great vibes.
Yo,
Mhm.
I wanna shake your hand now. That makes me feel good.
You can shake it. Shout out to you guys,
see, I'm
man.
not sexist.
Yeah.
I'll shake like
you
know, a non-man's hand instead of like,
Yeah.
something else.
Haytham, did you grow up in your family? Was it like, because in my family, I feel like we're kind of like a typical southern suburbs colored family where there's like all sorts of like
Gender
gender.
divisions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I think my sister experiences this sometimes when like she'll be driving for you. So my sister's a good driver. I'll give her that. She drives very fast. Sometimes it's scary, but she knows what she's doing when she's behind the wheel of a car, steering wheel. But I feel like there's a feeling from certain members in the family. Now, this could be in my imagination, but it's like, oh, she's a good driver for a woman,
Yeah.
Like those sorts of vibes. But I don't know if your family, I think, because your dad's an academic. I don't know how
but
much
he
I'm
still
allowed
doesn't
to say.
like washing the dishes.
So
it's like,
yeah.
Yeah, the theory is it's well and good, but like, come on, man. Sometimes the guy wouldn't really, play his role as much as he should have. But for the most part, I think my household, at least I'm not talking about my extended family, but
Yeah.
the smaller family unit was fairly progressive as far as Muslim families go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I had like a overly, and maybe that reflects in who I've turned out to be. And I'm not gonna toot my horn as like like I'm the paragon of like
Yeah, of course.
gender equality, because I don't know, maybe I've made people feel some kind of ways without knowing it. But I do also look at other people my age, people I was friends with or went to school with, who come from similar backgrounds, and sometimes like, damn, like them boys are quite bad in this regard. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that made any sense.
No, that makes a lot of sense, I think. Did you grow up in a family that was kind of like where gender was like a big, if you're a woman you have to do this, or if you're a man you...
I'd also say for a Muslim family, it wasn't like that bad.
Yeah.
But like my father was a breadwinner and my mother was the one doing like the cooking and stuff.
Yeah.
But I think I see it more with me and my brother, like the freedom he has and the freedom I don't necessarily have, So I think that's how it manifests more. And just in terms of them like controlling what I can and can't wear.
Yeah.
And those vibes. Where with my brother, like that wouldn't be a thing.
Yeah, 100%.
So on my part, I suppose also maybe my sample or my sample size or whatever you want to call it might be a bit skewed because I only have a brother and
Yeah.
both my parents work. So you know, maybe if I had a sister, maybe if I had like a sister, you know, it would have been like some kind of contrast to see. It's just interesting to think if I had a sister, like you know, what would, you know, how this kind of thing manifests itself, but who knows? And it's something I won't really know. But for the most part, yeah, I think.
Yeah, because I feel like that's when it shows. Like when there's a daughter and a son.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's like the manifestation of it, you know.
I think I kind of saw that when I was growing up. Just, I mean, I'm not gonna, you know, be too, I guess, revealing or whatever. But it would be things like my dad would have us in family meetings, and then he'd be like asking my brother and I, like, what are you gonna do with your life? And, you know, are you gonna be financially stable? And then asking my sister, like, are you gonna get married to your boyfriend? Like, you know, it's like those kinds of just like subtle ways of like these old ideas of
and stuff.
that the woman has to get married and, you know, has to have someone that provides for them and stuff. I will say, your mom turned out to be a fantastic cook, man. That was,
yeah, maybe the misogyny worked there, you know. Samuel's well fed, so it's okay. No, but facts, she does cook really well.
Haytham, you should have been. We went to Faaria's place. This was at the end of a Melon event. We were in Gauteng anyway. So we went to Pretoria. We got to see Lodium, which I'd heard so much about. But it was amazing to just finally be there. Because I feel like that place has personality, man.
Yeah, there's a lot. And because you guys know it so well from like my perspective of it.
Yeah.
But it was cool for you guys to actually experience it.
It was wild. Like, firstly, we were in a bulletproof Porsche, which is like, you know, you get into the Porsche and you're like, firstly, it's a Porsche. And then secondly, you're like, oh, wow, this is a bulletproof Porsche. And then you're like, oh, wow, this is a bulletproof Porsche. Like, why is this Porsche bulletproof?
Exactly.
But, I mean, just like driving into the town, you kind of, Faaria has a story for every, like, street.
I know the team, man.
Yeah, and it's like always these like complicated like love hexagons and like, you know.
Love hexagon.
I don't know, it's very enriching.
Or like fathers marrying friends, daughters. Daughters' friends, like crazy stuff.
That's wild. And also just like a lot of incest, actually. But shame. If you're listening from Lodium, I want you to know that.
Stop that. Let's stop it. Guys, we can leave that thing. There's no need for it anymore. That's what I want to say.
The incest.
Yes.
I don't particularly think you're inbred. So, I mean, I just want to give you another
Are you the product of an incestuous?
I'm not, thank God.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What if Faaria said yes?
Like, you don't... I'm trying to fight my way out of this. If you were, I would say like, well...
Thank God, I'm okay.
You seem like you turned out fine.
Yeah. But
yeah,
luckily...
you don't have 3 eyes or, you know, a hand on your forehead or something like that.
No, but
yeah, you're not. So.
Yeah. And my father went like quite far out of the Lodium pool.
Out of the gene pool.
Where did your father and your mother meet?
So my mom moved to Pretoria when she was like 5, and they were in the same school from grade 1. So it's like super cute vibes. Man. But it was also complicated because like her ID said coloured and it was an Indian only school. So I don't know how they managed that.
Oh.
Yeah, man. A lot of assimilation there.
Yeah. But it also points out how silly like the apartheid racial classification was, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, the pencil didn't fall out of your hair, therefore you must belong to this group and live here now. It's like completely ridiculous.
Haytham just like looked at my head.
What? What?
It was like, now that pencil's falling out there, you know?
No, whatever, man. I swear I didn't. I was looking at the ceiling.
Okay.
As you do, you know?
This is now complete aside, very random. but like I feel like ceilings are one of the most underappreciated components of a house. Like nobody's really paying attention to the ceiling, and sometimes ceilings are quite intricate and they have a lot of detail and whatnot. Like I must admit, I didn't actually look at the ceiling. I think I did look at your hair, but I didn't look at the ceiling for the entirety that I've been here, and I didn't notice that there's like a cool lights or chandelier or whatever. So yeah, man, that's pretty crazy stuff. And it's something that should be appreciated.
Yeah,
more.
no,
Yeah.
that's true. I'd never appreciated the ceiling of my own house before this, but now,
Why do you
Yeah.
think they should be why do you
No, it's just like you look at the wall, you look at the
okay,
floor.
yeah.
But-
you don't look up.
Do you look up? And if you don't look up, then you don't see the bigger picture.
That whole explanation from Haytham is kind of like, it's such a Haytham moment, and if you don't
Yeah.
know him, you won't kind of understand what that means, but he likes things, he finds value in things, I feel like, that the majority of the world don't see as valuable,
Yeah.
You have very niche interests, like towers, for example.
Oh, I love it.
When
man.
we were in Chicago, Haytham and I walked to what's it? Not Sears Tower. What's the other one?
the John Hancock.
Yeah, the John Hancock building. Just because you said you used to like make mini constructions of those things.
I used
when
to
you were-
draw. I used to draw it a
Oh.
lot when I was a kid. That building
Yeah.
in particular.
Yeah,
That's so cool. And then you
Yeah.
got to like see it.
Yeah, we got to see it, and then Kathy said that we could go up the John
that was in
Hancock,
New
but then it was like a complete different city. So
That day we got off at the
I
wrong
thought it,
took the wrong train, got off on the wrong stop.
and then like
We were fighting for our
we
lives
were
out
meant
there.
to go to this restaurant, but luckily they just so happened to have another branch in the area that we got lost in. So like
Yeah.
that was a happy accident,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
So I wanted to segue into because speaking of like interests and like shared interests, or I guess uncommon interests, Faaria, I didn't know you had an interest in debating, because when I was at high school, I did debating. Now I
Yeah.
wasn't good. I got to like Western Province trials, and
Didn't
then
you-
Hey, that's good.
yeah, but like I didn't make it to.
Yeah.
I didn't get province colors. I just got to the trial stage.
Okay, I wouldn't say. Okay, wait. Why do you say I have
No,
an interest?
because TDL, right?
Yeah.
So Faaria is the president of.
I was the director.
Sorry.
Hey.
Yeah, was the director of Titani Debating League. So Rotary and TDL used to be like the two main ones.
Yeah, the
So
main leagues.
yeah, I just didn't know that. Like, what made you be the director there?
So after I was on Humanities Students Council, someone reached out to me to be the HR person for TDL, and then I got involved with that, and then eventually I ended up becoming the director. But I wouldn't say I'm necessarily involved with debating. It was more just the work we're doing, because we'd work with under-resourced schools.
Yeah.
So it was more that aspect. I wouldn't say I'm a very good debater either.
I just thought like it was interesting when I found out. I was like, oh, I didn't know you were involved in.
Yeah.
But then you tend to be involved in like, Faaria's got like a very big heart for people. And so you end up being on like so many different projects and like
Yeah.
organizations to just like
It's a lot.
try and help make the world a better place. Because even now with like, can we speak about Keiko?
Yeah.
Okay.
can.
So, Faaria is like heavily, well, I don't also want to say too much because you never know who could be listening, you know? The dark side could be listening and gathering intel. But can you tell us a little bit more about Keiko?
Okay,
and
yeah.
like the,
So
yeah.
Keiko is the Cape Youth Collective, for those that don't know.
Mm.
And it was formed, well, it was first in Cape Town in the 80s, but it was reformed in response to the taxi strikes last year.
Yeah.
But I only got involved at the end of last year, and it was mainly in response to the situation in Palestine and the genocide. But yeah, just a group of young activists who don't really feel represented by any specific political party
Yeah.
and are interested in working with youth and conscientizing youth. And yeah, that's kind of what we do, man.
I feel like that's something that people kind of misunderstand about Keiko? Because people automatically assume like, oh, it's a political party, like they were
Yeah.
trying to get into power.
No, and
But-
there's no power.
Yeah,
Like we don't even have specific structures within Keiko. It's just kind of like we're all there
yeah,
with specific.
Yeah, it's a collective, right?
Yeah, it's
So
a collective.
that's kind of by design what a collective
Because in the past
is,
it was
yeah.
the KPU's Congress, where now it's
Yeah.
the KPU's collective.
yeah.
That's dope.
But it's a lot because
Mm.
I think the last few months has been fight or flight, just with
Yeah.
regards to the genocide, and also so much action, trying to do so much just for like nothing to change, you know.
Mm.
So it's quite exhausting, and I
Yeah.
think everyone's feeling quite
Burnt out.
dead. Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's been really cool, and I've met some super cool people.
Did you meet some of the friends that you're in Keiko with? Did you meet them through the organization, or you knew most of them before?
No, so I met most of them through the organization.
Okay.
So I knew like 3 of them before, but the rest were just through the organization.
That's so cool. Like you open
Yeah.
yourself up to so many communities. And this is also another thing about you that's like, if you don't know, like if you need a contact, Faaria probably has a way of getting involved with like I imagine the contact list on your phone is
It's
insane.
crazy.
Yeah. And I also called you the busiest unemployed person I've ever met.
Yeah, if I could get paid for like the random stuff I'm doing, we'd be sorted,
Yeah,
guys.
you always at like some sort of like vigil or march, or you like not even just attending, like organizing it and stuff.
Yeah, but it's tiring.
Yeah,
Like it's great, and I think we need more spaces like that. But it's hard also because things are just difficult, you know?
yeah. Is it difficult to get funding as well?
Yeah, we don't have any of that. So
Mm.
It's all self-funded.
not even. One of our friends described it as 5 rand and a dream. And that's kind of how we've been doing things.
Yeah,
£2 to add hope.
Yeah. But it's cool to like meet people that you probably wouldn't have met before. But it's also a lot. Like my best friend describes it as a new character drop every week.
wow.
Cause like, yeah,
And it's testing parts of you that you didn't know. Like all of a sudden, you have like administration skills. You have like you're expert on graffiti. You know, it's like you
you're exposing me.
Well,
Like
not
what-
you specifically.
What do you mean by
in
new,
general.
new characters drop into the?
Into my life.
Oh,
So like
okay.
I'll see my friend and then I'll mention like a new name and she's like, who on earth is that, you know?
Yeah.
And it just keeps on happening because there's just so many people.
That's a very good way of describing it, actually.
Yeah, because I don't know how else to describe my social life at this point.
Yeah. And I feel like it's not just Cape Town specific. Like in Pretoria, you're also very like well connected.
Yeah, I definitely
yeah.
have cooler friends this side. Shout out to you guys.
Appreciate that.
But yeah.
And also screw all of you Pretoria friends of no. Okay. Well, I was about to say we're better than you, but no, I'm just playing. But like, it's a real testament to I think your character as well, because I feel like you've got you've got a heart for people, but then some people have good intentions, and then it doesn't matter because they don't know like how to interact with people or how to create like I don't like using the word space because it's like
And I think
it's that typical
academics love that
university-
word.
Yeah,
space.
exactly. I don't want to say
Spaces
space,
and places.
but like
But
you,
space, I
yeah,
get you.
yeah. Like you create a space where people feel like they can be themselves. That's how I felt, at least. It's like I don't feel like I have to like change any elements
Yeah.
of my personality to be able to hang out with you.
I just think if you're cool, like you're cool, you know?
Yeah,
And
Can't
lot
be
of people-
taught, shorty.
a lot of people are cool.
yeah.
Some are whack though.
No, for sure.
Oh yeah.
And I won't be nice.
Yeah.
I'll try not to be nice to them.
Yeah,
Yeah. But I think I'm also just too nice sometimes.
that's interesting. What do you think So I recently did an interview with a representative from AfriForum. No.
It's
Now that's like, so I'm doing work for a professor, and anthropology is cool because it takes you to places that you never
Yeah.
be by yourself, you know. So like, I would not. That's why I was in Durbanville, because also, we have petrol money to go to Durbanville. But like, just interviewing someone who is from this like organization that goes very like, this is like our viewpoints kind of diverge at most points.
Yeah.
So then it was interesting. I was like, because I'd sent them emails and I'm like, oh, I'm Samuel Julius. I'm from the UCT anthropology department. And so you kind of still sound like, I guess in people's ideas, there's no race attached to, you know, these formal communiques and stuff. But like when I walked there without an appointment, I felt like, you know,
Did you just feel eyes on you?
yeah, I could like
Yeah.
but this is not from AfriForum people themselves, just from the people in the community, just like looking.
In
But then
Durbanville?
yes, in Durbanville.
Okay.
But I was wearing like a suit and stuff, so I was trying to like, I guess, whiten up, you know, like just make sure that I look presentable and whatnot. You know, you can't come in
Which
here
is
with
also
your-
crazy,
I
man.
know, yeah, but
Next time, go in like pajamas.
I'm gonna go in overalls next time, red
yeah,
overalls.
hey, you know the vibes.
But then they let me through, and then firstly the receptionist is like, and shout out to you, AfriForum receptionist. I forgot what your name was, but it's okay. Sorry, that sounded like I was throwing a shot, and I really wasn't. But she was like, "Oh, you've been here before, eh? You were here last year on the what was the project from last year?" I was like, maybe. And then I was like, no, auntie, because then I was like, I sent you emails before, but she probably, like, there was a brown person last
Yeah.
year. I'm
Wearing a
assuming.
tie.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you must be that guy. But then the person agreed, one of their representatives, his name was Jacques, agreed to sit down with me, and we had the interview, and he said, like, I was looking for his perspective, which was what the project was about,
Yeah.
and it wasn't about, like placing moral judgments on the stuff that he was saying, even though I disagreed with like a lot of what was said, he was still polite to me. And so like going to Durbanville, I was listening to like Fela Kuti on the radio, and I was like in my, you know, African bag, and then afterwards I was like, ons gaan door toe, you know, it was like a
Nah, Samuel.
no, I'm joking. Obviously I'm talking nonsense,
Yeah.
but it was just interesting to just like speak to someone who my views and values are very opposed to, but still trying to like not meet them halfway. That's not the right way to
Or
phrase
just-
it, but just hear them out. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, I don't know. It was just a very interesting experience. Like, it was eye opening for me. you
But
know?
I think you're better than me in that regard, because for me, if I like disagree with your politics, it's so hard for me to see beyond that, you know?
Mm.
So I think it takes a lot to see beyond that. So
Yeah. I think I'm also just like, I think you wear your heart on your sleeve a lot more than what I do, you know?
okay, fair.
And I think it's just like,
I think you wear your heart on your sleeve
you
too.
think?
Yeah.
Or how would you say you don't? Or in what ways do I do that you don't?
I think I try, I'm like a people pleaser.
But same.
Yeah.
Just not if you're racist or like Zionist or something. That's when I'm not.
See, no, fair enough, but I think I'm a people pleaser even when you're those
Okay.
things, you know what
yeah.
I mean?
So that's the
Like,
difference.
I'm still, yeah. So maybe just not as strong in my politics. Well, definitely not as strong in my politics, but like, I don't know. It was just, I still feel the need to kind of appease people,
But
even when
also,
I disagree with
you
them.
had a
It's-
project and you couldn't have
Yeah.
gone there and like
guns
Fought.
blazing.
you know
Yeah.
like tried to argue with the guy because
Yeah.
like you had some kind of professional responsibility to fulfill. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not too sure what it is that you had to like. Yeah, what did you have to ask this guy about?
I was asking about his perspectives on like street renaming and like taking down colonial
Yeah.
signs and stuff like that.
Exactly. So like you couldn't have gone there and like, well, your opinion sucks. Like you just
Yeah.
kind of had to like
Yeah.
roll with it.
Yeah.
So you kind of nailed it from the sound of it.
Yeah.
Well, I hope the data is what I don't know. It was just, it's cool to have those experiences where I was like, I was in AfriForum's headquarters, and I don't
Yeah.
think I
Yeah.
would have ever done that without that kind of project.
Were you the
Uh-huh.
only, you know,
Oh yeah.
fella
Yeah.
with melanin
Oh no, well,
in the
me and the cleaning staff. But that's how it goes, you know.
yeah.
That's kind of par for the course. So even when I was in Qatar as well, I don't know what Qatari society is like, but
It's pretty whack.
yeah, but like there was a whole bunch of like African people that were like working staff, and I spoke to those people and they were like the coolest people. Like me and this lady from Kenya just speaking about Jomo Kenyatta and like false promises, and you know
Dope.
the
Yeah.
idea of like neoliberalism in Kenya, and I don't know, it was just
That's
cool,
awesome,
man.
man.
It's
But
like,
that's why I think
awesome.
you also do wear your heart on your sleeve, because like
You have an ability to you know, conversate with anyone.
yeah.
yeah,
And that takes a lot.
It's
like,
pretty ballsy. Like
yeah, it's super cool.
But
most of
people
the
are the
time.
most interesting thing
For
out
real.
there. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think there's any, and maybe that's anthropocentric because we're doing anthropocentrism this week in class. Anyway, but maybe it's like foregrounding people too much. But I don't think, like, I know mechanical engineers, they like how machines work and stuff like that. But I don't think there's anything in the universe more confusing and frustrating and interesting than people.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree.
It
Because
was
it's just
so-
crazy.
Yeah,
And everyone just has so many thoughts, you know?
exactly.
And
it's-
everyone's just living. Like, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah. And like fundamentally, we all trying to like, figure out why we're here. But then
Yeah.
a lot of people, I don't know. There's also bad people. So I don't want to romanticize the idea
Yeah,
of human
yeah,
beings
yeah.
too much.
Yeah. But I also think we should just take things less seriously because we're all just like trying to survive, you know?
We are all just trying to survive. And that's why I feel like I enjoy hanging out with you guys, because as bad as the world is, and no matter what's kind of going on, I know I can go to people where I'll be firstly just welcomed for who I am, but then also I don't have to take things too seriously. Like
Yeah.
we joke about like a lot of things,
Mm.
and that's also surviving. That's also just trying to make sense of the world. And
Yeah.
not everything has to be a theory, because
Yeah,
we come from
man.
an institution where you kind of have to always be playing the game, or
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, but it's been super cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like, getting to know each other and just being, you know?
Yeah. Completely.
It means a lot to me, man. And thank you guys for even just being willing to come on to the podcast. I know I've had Haytham on
Hey
before.
man, that's why I was really excited to come back on it, because it's always such a great time
Yeah.
being on Honesty Hour.
Thank you.
And going forward, if there's any further opportunities for me to be on it, then
Well, long may it
I'd
continue.
really love to make another appearance. Sorry.
No, of course. Of course.
Same, man. It was so cool and so fun. And we're just hilarious, like, as people, you know?
No, 100%.
It's great to, like, let other people witness that.
Because the thing is, like people would listen and think, like those moments where we're just like dying laughing, like that's not a podcast moment. That's just like how it normally goes.
Yeah, we kind of had to, like, keep it in a bit because it was a podcast.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, just like being willing to also, it's a pretty vulnerable thing doing podcasting. Not so much for me because it's only my friends and family that are listening, but like you're still putting a part of yourself out there online, and living with the consequences of that. So thank you for being brave and being willing to do that. So
I know my digital footprint is already, or what's it called? My online. It's already
Yeah,
whack. So this
yeah.
is like,
You're already on a couple of watch lists.
for
I think.
sure.
oh no, 100% Faaria is on some watch lists, man.
Ugh, yeah.
It's just we need to be watching those watch lists. 'Cause
Yeah.
there's some shady characters, Mm.
Who watches the watch list?
These are the real questions. Yeah. No, but thanks for coming out, and thank you to the listeners for listening. Thank you to Samantha for producing the podcast, for lending your equipment. We had a conversation this morning because I have a mic as well, and she was like, "Your mic is terrible. Let's use my stuff." So thank you for just being willing, and I want to say thank you to everybody in my life for just like allowing me to have moments like these, which is so cool, and remind me again why I wake up in the mornings. So thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.